Hello, this is Bani, and welcome to the news with NDTV. It's Friday, August 22nd, and coming up in today's episode, Supreme Court modifies earlier order on stray dogs, PM Modi takes a jibe at the opposition during Bihar rally, Supreme Court on Bihar voter list, and Israel's defense minister's threat to destroy Gaza City. Following the pushback from animal activists and some celebrities against the Supreme Court's earlier order to round up and permanently relocate all strays to shelters, the Supreme Court today modified its decision. Today, the Apex Court announced that the stray dogs could be released from the shelters after sterilization, except in the cases of aggressive behavior or rabies infections. It further asserted that people would not be allowed to feed stray dogs in public and ordered the creation of dedicated feeding spaces within municipal wards. A three-judge bench of Justices Vikram Nath, Sandeep Mehta, and N.V. Anjaria, reviewing an earlier order by the court, also expanded the scope of the issue and ordered that all similar matters pending before high courts be transferred to the top court for a final national policy. The court said animal birth control rules are to be followed for now. The rules provide a set of guidelines to control the stray population and say that the dogs must be sent back to the same locality after sterilization. The court has warned against obstructing such services. Quote, stray dogs shall be dewormed, vaccinated, and sent back to the same area. The dogs with aggressive behavior or with rabies shall be immunized and not released, unquote, said Justice Nath. PETA India and an animal rights advocacy organization thanked the court with an Every Dog Has Her Day statement. Former Union Minister and animal rights activist Manika Gandhi also welcomed the order but urged the court to define the terms under which a dog can be declared as aggressive. The court also said that public feeding of stray dogs cannot be allowed under any condition and ordered civic bodies to create dedicated feeding areas. Those violating the order would face legal action, it said, directing the Municipal Corporation of India to start a helpline for reporting violations. Animal lovers can apply for the adoption of dogs before the MCD, the court said, but also warned that once adopted, those dogs should not be left back on the streets. A bench of Justices J.B. Pardiwala and R. Mahadevan had on August 11 ordered all stray dogs in Delhi NCR to be moved to shelters within 8 weeks, taking note of the rising incidence of dog bites and rabies cases, and even death. At least 37 lakh dog bites and 54 suspected rabies deaths were reported in 2024, according to the government. The court had directed authorities to capture stray dogs from the streets and warned against any interference in the rounding up exercise. The authorities were also asked to make shelters with the capacity to house at least 5,000 dogs each. The matter proved hugely divisive, leading to massive criticism. Animal rights activists and several celebrities argue that the order would be expensive and ineffective in curbing the stray population. In today's special intensive revision hearing, the Supreme Court said that Bihar voters challenging their exclusion from the electoral rolls before an election later this year can present Aadhaar as a valid ID proof. It directed the Election Commission to add the government issued ID to a list of 11 others. The top court, hearing petitions contesting the special intensive revision of the Bihar voter list, said applications for re inclusion can be submitted with either one of those 11 or the Aadhaar card. The top court also expressed concern over the political parties of Bihar and their lack of action on the ground. It questioned why the political parties are not assisting people on the ground. It had some strong comments for such parties, demanding to know why they, many of whom have opposed the revision on grounds as it was designed to disenfranchise communities that traditionally vote for them, had not assisted the over 65 lakh deleted voters. Additionally, it asked the political parties that are protesting against SIR to file a status report by the next week detailing their role in helping the people of Bihar. Quote, political parties are not doing their jobs, the court said, echoing the poll panel's note that objections had been filed by individual politicians, that is, MPs and MLAs, but not the parties. The Election Commission then noted that BLAs were authorized to file 10 enumeration forms, that is, on behalf of struck off voters per day, and that individual voters had been more active in filing objections to the deletion of their names than political parties that had cried foul over the revision exercise. Quote, "What are your booth level agents doing? Political parties must help voters. But we are only surprised by the inaction of political parties. After appointing BLAs, what have they been doing?" the court asked. It further added, "Why is there a distance between people and parties? Voters are more conscious than political parties," unquote, the court remarked. Earlier, senior advocate Rakesh Dwivedi, appearing for the poll panel, urged the court to give the Election Commission of India a 15-day window to show there had been no wrongful exclusion. Quote, "Political parties are making hue and cry. Things are not that bad," unquote, he said. He added, "Repose faith in the Election Commission and give us more time. We will show you there are no exclusions." The next hearing is scheduled for 8 September. The court has assured that in the next hearing, it will go through the objections raised and will consider extending the timeline, or even staying the order if there is an overwhelming number of objections and it feels that SIR is a wrongful decision. The final list will be filed on 1st September. Ahead of the Bihar polls later this year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi today addressed a massive rally at Gaza City in Bihar and took some scathing jabs at the opposition. He targeted the Congress and other parties that oppose the three bills that mandate the removal of any minister, including the Prime Minister and Chief Ministers, who have been under arrest for 30 consecutive days, asking why people holding key posts should be allowed to function from prison. Quote, "If a government employee is imprisoned for 50 hours, then he loses his job automatically, be it a driver, a clerk, or a peon. But should a chief minister, a minister, or even a prime minister stay in the government even while being in jail?" Unquote. He said in the first comments on three contentious legislations that triggered a political storm in parliament earlier this week. He added, "Why should governments be allowed to run from jail? Should tainted ministers continue in their posts? The people expect their leaders to uphold moral integrity." The three bills, Government of Union Territories Amendment Bill 2025, the Constitution 113th Amendment Bill 2025, and the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Amendment Bill 2025, were referred to a joint committee of party. The bills propose that if the Prime Minister, Union Ministers, or Chief Ministers are arrested and detained in custody for 30 consecutive days for offences that attract a jail term of at least 5 years, they will lose their jobs on the 31st day. These bills were introduced in the Lok Sabha on the second last day of Parliament's monsoon session. The opposition tore apart the copies of the draft legislation and strongly protested against them in the Lok Sabha. It said the bills violated constitutional principles, targeted federalism, turned the jurisprudence innocent until proven guilty on its head, were open to misuse for political reasons, and threatened to turn the country into a political state. The Prime Minister, however, hit out at the Congress, the Rashtriya Janata Dal, and the left parties for opposing the legislation. Quote, "Some time ago, we saw how files were being signed from jail and how government orders were given from jail. If leaders have such an attitude, how can we fight corruption?" Unquote, he said in an apparent reference to the Aam Aadmi Party national convener Arvind Kejriwal's arrest in the liquor scam case during his term as Chief Minister in Delhi earlier. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi alleged that the three contentious bills would take the administration back to medieval times. Quote, "We are going back to the medieval times when a king could remove anybody at will. There is no concept of what an elected person is. If the king, in which he must be referring to the Prime Minister Modi, doesn't like your face, he tells the Enforcement Directorate to file a case. Then a democratically elected person is wiped out within 30 days, unquote, Mr. Gandhi, the leader of the opposition in Lok Sabha, said. Israel's defense minister has threatened to destroy Gaza City if Hamas does not agree to disarm, release all remaining hostages in the Palestinian territory, and end the war on Tel Aviv's terms. The warning came as the Jewish state prepares for an expanded offensive in the enclave. Quote, "Soon the gates of hell will open upon the heads of Hamas's murderers and rapists in Gaza until they agree to Israel's conditions for ending the war, primarily the release of all hostages and their disarmament," unquote, Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz posted on social media. He added, "If they do not agree, Gaza, the capital of Hamas, will become Rafah and Beit Hanun," he added, referring to the two cities in Gaza largely razed during the previous Israeli operations. His remarks came a day after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said he would authorize the military to seize Gaza City. Netanyahu has ordered immediate negotiations aimed at freeing all remaining hostages in Gaza. Netanyahu has said a push to release the hostages would accompany the operation to take control of Gaza City and destroy the Hamas stronghold. This comes after Israel's defense minister authorized the call-up of roughly 60,000 reservists to help seize Gaza City. Quote, "These are two matters, defeating Hamas and releasing all our hostages. These go hand in hand," unquote, Netanyahu said in a video statement without providing details about what the next stage of talks would entail. Mediators have been waiting for days for an official Israeli response to their latest ceasefire proposal, which Hamas accepted earlier this week. Per an AFP report, the new deal involves staggered hostage releases, while Israel has insisted that any deal see all the captives freed at once. Israel's plans to expand the fighting and seize Gaza City has sparked an international outcry as well as domestic opposition. Hamas's October 2023 attack on Israel resulted in the death of 1,219 people, mostly civilians, according to an AFP tally based on official figures. Israel's offensive has killed more than 62,000 Palestinians, most of them civilians, according to figures from the health ministry in the Hamas run Gaza that the United Nations considers reliable. As per a Guardian report, figures from a classified Israeli military intelligence database indicates that 5 out of 6 Palestinians killed by Israeli forces in Gaza have been civilians, an extreme rate of slaughter rarely matched in recent decades of warfare. That's all for today. You were listening to the news with NDTV, your daily newspaper and news bulletin wrapped in a compact podcast. If you want to catch up with the day's events in a hurry, do subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, and the NDTV News app. This is your host Bani, signing off.